still want the act, not the ghost.
Well, hello and welcome back to the DCUK podcast. Hopefully you can hear me absolutely fine this week, but this is season 5 and episode 19. And as always, I'm your host, James Graham. We're back for another episode and we're going to have all the good stuff. But just before we do, and helping me keep my muppets a little bit dry, just a quick word about the show's sponsor.
WeAreWild.com. If you're like me and want to do whatever it is you can to help the environment, there is one thing, and it will help you smell great too. Wild is the right choice for natural deodorant as it actually works. I've always struggled with deodorants, but this one has left me feeling fresh under the pits and smelling good. The case is a fully sustainable design made out of aluminium. It's a case for life, and the refills are both that biodegradable and recyclable. Also, when you go to order, you can customize it to your needs. Choose your perfect case and scent combinations. My favorite scent being fresh cotton and sea salt. It's also eco-friendly and with all natural ingredients, as well as being vegan and cruelty-free. So what are you waiting for? Go wild today with special discount, 40% off your first order for my UK listeners when you use the code DC United Kingdom at checkout, and for my global listeners, save 25%. Go to wearewild.com and use DC United Kingdom at check. Enjoy. Now, back to the show.
Well, so what we got first up for you today, well, as always, it is Guess DC Who, and I think we've got a bit of a good one this week. As always, it's usually about a player who has played for both ourselves and the team that we're going to be coming up against. And this week, we are coming up against the New York Red Bulls, or as we all affectionately know them as, the New Jersey Pink Cows. So this guy is going to come up on screen right now. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening, here are some clues for you. So as mentioned, this is someone who's played both for DC United and our opponents this weekend of New York Red Bulls. He was born in Winter Park, Florida, of which I've actually been to. I've actually been to Winter Park, Florida. There was back in 2018 when I had my first trip to the United States. It was actually really nice. We had, me and my wife were there, and, you know, we had a good meal, good service, as always you usually get in the States. And, yeah, really nice. And drove the Mustang there. So, yeah, can't argue with that at all. On top of that, so this guy stands at a measly 5. I was going to say 6'9", but no, he stands at 5'9". He played college soccer at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for the Tar Heels, where he made 45 appearances, scoring 4 goals. He's played for 5 different teams throughout his career so far, which highlights the fact that he's still a current player. And he's played for the US men's national team 13 times. He's won the Western Conference and the Supporters' Shield twice, whilst also making the MLS All-Star team in 2015 and 2017. Who is he? Answers on the postcard. Get them in the comments. Drop me a message if you're listening to After the Fact and let me know who you think this is. Please don't go straight to the end and find out who it is. Please put on your thinking caps, as Stu's just said in the chat, and let us know. So that is Guess DC Who, and the answer will be revealed at the end of the show. Moving on to some news, talking points, and all that good stuff. So you know what's going to happen. In actual news, there really hasn't been that much since in the last week. But talking point wise is obviously the big thing is we're coming up to the end of the season. We've got 4 games left remaining. We are unbeaten in 4 at the moment. So we're on an okayish bit of form. Even if we are unbeaten in 4, it hasn't been the best results. We've won 1 and drawn 3 in a row. So could be worse, but could be a lot better, shall we say. We've got the 4 games remaining, which is our New Jersey Pink Cow rivals this weekend. We're then coming up against Vancouver, who've won 3 out of their last 5 games. Austin, who've lost 4 out of their last 6. So they're coming into a bit of a bad run at the moment. And if we just have a quick hop over to the form table, we look down at Austin, who are currently 21st in the Supporter Shield. If we look at that, so they've drew with Red Bulls midweek 1-1. They then were beaten by Portland Timbers at home 2-1, drew against the Revolution away, and then were beaten by Seattle, Dallas, and St. Louis City previously. So, yeah, so they're coming into a bit of a poor run at the moment. And then our last game of the season is New York City FC, who are a place below them in the Support Shield, so 22nd overall. They're on a similar sort of run to us. They are unbeaten than the previous 4, but they've won 2 and drawn 2, so slightly better than us. You look at their sort of last 4 games, they've kept 3 clean sheets as well, so very similar. They've just scored 4 more goals. No, they've. What am I doing? Where are we? Last 4 games, we've scored 5. They've scored 5 as well. So, yeah, incredibly similar. But they did manage to get an extra win in their last 4 games. So it is very much a tricky situation. Now, when we look at the table, so we look at the conference standings. So let's just have a little breakdown of those who are around us and see again where we could potentially end up. I did this on the last show. We've had 2 games since then, so let's have a little look. So we've got Nashville above us. I mean, technically speaking, we could catch up with Atlanta. They're 10 points ahead of us for 4 games. The likelihood of that ever happening is like probably less than 1%, I'm going to say. But you're saying there is a chance. So there's a chance. But I haven't actually looked at their up and coming games. So we're going to look at Nashville. I probably should look this way because that's where the screen is and that's where the table is. But on my monitor, it's over here. Nashville are mathematically still catchable. But again, like Atlanta, realistically, it's not going to happen. They do have 2 games in hand on us. So they've played 28. We've played 30. They are 7 points ahead of us. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So realistically, towards the end of the season, we are looking at a playing game. If we're going to make it to the postseason, it's going to be a playing game. And that really is then down to one of 2 places. And that becomes very, how can I use the right word? Bum twitchy, shall we say. Your bum starts nipping a little bit. So let's look at Montreal. So they are still 1 point ahead of us. They do have a game in hand though. So they've won 37 points with 29 games. We're obviously 36 from 30. They got 2 points in their last 4 fixtures. So that does signal a bit of a downturn in their form. So for me, they're there for the taking. This is Lasada. You look at his overall record. So they've won 11, lost 14, and drawn 4. And so they've got the joint fewest draws in the entire MLS. Only Miami have got the same amount of draws. No one's got fewer, but everyone else has got more. So you look at Lasada, you're either going to get a win or a loss, really. We know that from experience. So they are definitely there for the taking. When you look at their sort of, let's just go back to their form guides and you look at who they've got remaining. So they've got Atlanta, Orlando, Houston, and Portland. Is that it? I thought they had one more. 1, 2, 3, 4. That can't be right. They must have another game somewhere. That's a bit strange. I could have sworn they had one. Yeah. There's definitely another game in there somewhere. I just don't know where. That's very weird. No, no. So yeah, they like I said, they're there for the taking. That is for sure. Then you go back to the league. So then below us is then NYCFC. They're on the same amount of games as us, and they are 2 points behind. Last game of the season, this is going to be a huge, huge game if things haven't wrapped up by then, because we finish earlier than the other teams. So we will be waiting on bated breath for that last round, that decision day. That's going to be huge for us. So interesting that we're not there in that week, but it is what it is. We're just going to put ourselves in the best position possible. NYCFC, like I said previously, they've taken 8 points from the last 5 games, very similar to us. This could be a very, very good game to watch for sure. You're then looking at Chicago, who are 3 points behind us. They've got a game in hand on us. They do have a much worse goal difference. So that's a good thing that we're only on a -1 goal difference. It's the fact that they're on a -13. That's massive difference there. But then when you look at their recent form, that has been appalling, should we say. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 last 6 games, they've taken 1 point. That's not good at all. They've got New York, Red Bulls, Miami, and Charlotte. So they've got Miami there. If Messi is playing, then that could be a massive, massive game for them. So yeah, Chicago, I'm not 100% worried about. I'm not really worried at all about them, considering their form. You're then looking at Charlotte FC. So Charlotte, we tied against previously a couple of games ago. They are still 3 points behind us. They still have 2 games in hand on us. This is where it could be one of those a little bit worried about this one. So they do have to play Miami twice, though, in their last 2 games. That's going to be very interesting. They've got 7 points from the last 15 available, but they do go to FC Cincinnati next. So they have a game which is going to be intriguing. They've got 4 out of their last 6 away games are away from home. Incredibly tough running. We know in MLS, being on the road is a lot tougher than it is playing at home. You could say that about a lot of leagues across the world, but it's just emphasized in MLS because of the traveling that you have inside there. And then you've got Miami as well. So they're on 31 points. They're 5 points behind us, again, with 2 games in hand. As mentioned, they've got 2 games against Charlotte. However, this weekend against Orlando, they are missing Messi and Jordi Alba. And when you look at the last game against Atlanta, where they were both missing, they got beaten massively. So that's going to be an interesting game to watch for this weekend and keeping an eye on. So if they drop points in that one and we can beat the Pink Cows this weekend, I think we might be all right. So this weekend for me is probably season deciding. If I want to really put much onto it, if we beat Pink Cows and results go our way this weekend, I'm going to feel a hell of a lot comfier going into next week, to say the least. But we need to focus on what we can do, which is beating the Pink Cows. Just looking at some of the comments that are coming through. Stu, sphincter clenching time. Got to do what we can and let the dominoes fall where they will. That's very that's a bit deep for you, Stu. And basically smash and grab all the points we can everything else is in the hands of Majestic Larmacorn. Yes, yeah, and that's a bit of an inside thing between Stu, me, and a couple of other people who know Stu personally and about the Larmacorns. You might have noticed that I've not really talked about the Red Bulls, mainly because they've got a game in hand on us, but they are 5 points behind. So now bear in mind, if the worst happens this weekend, that could obviously turn things around. But as of right now, I'm not really focusing on them just yet. And then poor old Toronto down at the bottom. They're so far behind, it's not even worth talking about. Yeah, they really will not ever get into. I'm surprised they're not eliminated yet. So they're 14 points behind. Yeah, they're going to be eliminated at the end of this weekend. They're not going to be able to make it. So bye-bye, Toronto. Bye-bye. Right. So that's kind of all sort of the fixtures and a little bit of a breakdown of the rest of the season. Let me know what you think. Are we looking at what's coming up, looking at the other teams that are around us and what they've got going on? Realistically, are we going to be in the postseason? I think we are. I think we've got enough about us. We've shown in the last 4 games that we are an attacking side. Against Chicago, we were clinical. Then the following 3 games, we haven't been so clinical. We drew two games 0-0, and then we drew 1-1 against Atlanta. We just need to find that little bit, a couple of goals in a game, and just for things just to start falling in the right places and getting that confidence there. So I think we can do it. Benteke just needs to find the net again. Pirani with his goal at midweek was brilliant. I've really enjoyed watching him play, and I really hope we sign him after his loan deal finishes. And, well, Fajardo, I'm not very impressed with at all. And I'll talk about that in the match review and my reasons why. But yeah, we're gonna look at that. We've got comments about, we've discussed the weather forecast for this weekend at all. No, that will be in the preview bit, which is going to come in a little bit later into the show. Because that's going to be interesting. It's yeah, like I said, I'll talk about it. It doesn't look as bad as it was originally forecast. Let's put it that way. Many of the teams below us are playing each other. If there are a lot of draws there and Messi remains injured, we might get in. I know we've played more games than the other teams, but you're right that everyone's playing each other, and as the next couple of weeks, we'll find a couple of teams will get eliminated. I think we will be looking at. I think we will get in there. I'm going to put my cards on the table. I think we will get in. Like I said, I've seen enough about us to show that defensively we've been pretty solid. You look at Bono; he's been really good coming in. Replacing Tyler Miller, which is the next point in my news on my notes. And you look at Pines, he's been pretty solid. Heinz Eich's been quiet, which is usually a good thing for a defender. Ron I've really, again, enjoyed watching him play this season. The speed on him is just phenomenal and poses a different kind of threat, especially going forward. And left back has been one of those positions we've been a little bit iffy over the entire season because of injuries that we've picked up. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm obviously going to be interested. But I'm intrigued by the last few games and how we're going to play it out. And I'm very intrigued the fact that we're now playing teams that are around us as well. We're not really playing teams that are that far ahead of us. So each game in there is winnable. Let's put it that way. So Yeah, I think we can do it. I think we can do it. But yeah, going back to news bits, the last bit on the notes was about Tyler Miller and how he is out for the rest of the season. It's a shame for the guy, but considering his form that he'd been in, can't say I'm too upset. Players without Bono's come in and played incredibly well in goal, kept a number of clean sheets, shall we say, and yeah, very happy for Bono. I'm trying to think of a YouTube pun, but really can't. Someone come up with a Bono pun in the chat, please. I need something. But yeah. Anyway, Solid Pines, the jokes write themselves. Love Pines. Hope he stays 11. And I hope he gets this new deal that he's rumored to be getting. He needs it. He deserves it. He's been a revelation this season. He's got 3 goals, which is a record equals the record that for the most goals he's scored in the season. I think he's made 17 starts so far this year. Yeah, for me, he deserves it. He needs to be signed on for the next couple of years. I think that would be a 2-year deal with an option for a third. I don't think anyone would argue with that. So, yeah. And that's it for the news. Like I said, you know what's coming. Don't forget, pick yourself up one of these jerseys. DCUKingdom.com/DCUK store. The link it'll be in the description. It's in there somewhere. They are absolutely spot on. Get yourself one. Do it. And if you're not a DCUK member, please do come join us. The chats are always good. Match days are always fun. And yeah, it's just nice just to chat with fellow fans. We're currently on Twitter. That's our X. Well, X, formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it. The artist formerly known as Twitter. But yeah, it's we're all on there. We're all great. Depending on what Musk decides to do, if he decides to charge for Twitter, things might change, but we'll see. Right, moving on to match review time. And we had Atlanta midweek. That's what I'm going to talk about for this show. And whilst I didn't actually watch this one live, I've watched recaps and caught up about the game. And yeah, this is a brief breakdown of my notes from this game. So obviously, first things first, big congratulations to Gabe Pirani for scoring his first goal for the club. Great little finish, tidy, bottom corner. Beautiful. That's what we need. He's played very, very well without much luck. He previous game last weekend had a goal disallowed, which was rightly ruled out for offside, but very unfortunate because he's deserved to get that goal, and now he's got it. Hopefully, he can bang in a few more, coming up to the most important part of the season. We want that form going into postseason as well. So we want to be winning games, scoring goals, and get them going. However, back from Pirani on the opposite end of the scale, Durkin, whose his form hasn't been brilliant, shall we say. It hasn't been too clever. I don't know whether it's because he's been played in different positions. He's not really playing in his natural position, but something's just not right. And when you look at the way he gave up the ball for the goal, for Atlanta's goal, he was just kind of looking for something, but there wasn't anything there. So he kind of held onto the ball for far too long rather than just getting rid of it. He's gone into his own third, and Tyler Wolf just picks it up off of him. Durkin's looking for a foul, which just isn't there. And Muff just whips it in, and it's knocked into the back of the net. Early doors, 1-0, 14th minute. Not brilliant. Not the best of starts, shall we say. And then just kind of looking at what I mentioned there about Durkin and the being out of position and things like that. Looking at the lineup for this midweek game and for last week as well, it was, to me, it just seemed to lack a width. They've been very narrow these last couple of games, and there's not been a lot of pace in the team. I'm used to seeing pace on the left, pace on the right. Juan is obviously there normally. Dahome is usually there, given the pace, but we've seen Fajardo come in, and I've really not been impressed by him, to say the least. He's, in this game in particular, missing chances after chance. And the first one, Ron managed to play him in down the right-hand side, and he's through on goal. 1v1. Granted, it's not the best of angles, but he had 2 to 3 different options on there. And he went with one, which was have a shot goal, which he's more than happy to do, and he's every right to go and have a shot. But hit the target. The goal's big enough. Just aim for Gusan's bald head. I mean, I can't really say much. Look at this. Shining lights off my head. But he should have hit the target there. And you heard the groans in the stands. It was just a horrendous shot. The options that you had on there, I think we had Pirani coming in late into the box. You had Benteke, who was running off his man, getting into the edge of the 6-yard box, looking like you just had to have a cutback, and it would have been boom, and we would have been back to 1-1 in the first half. But no, he went to have the shot, like I said, which he has every right to do, but he blazed it over the bar, which is just frustrating. And then the other big chance that he had was, again, Juan. It was a nice bit of play, patient build up, but we managed to find some space down the right. Juan whips the ball in, and you've got Fajardo and you've got Benteke on the edge of the 6-yard box. Fajardo has managed to peel away from his man, give him a yard or two, which is brilliant work. Credit there. But he's gone to glance his header, which, for the type of cross that came in, it didn't need glancing. It just needed putting it back into the opposite corner that it was coming from. That would have been, again, that would have been a nice equaliser, and that would have been first half, 1-1, gone into half time. But no, he's gone to glance it, and he's headed it wider target. And again, it's one of those ones where you're free in the box, 6 yards out, hit the target, make the keeper work. And again, he didn't. So very, very frustrating. And just that's what's happened a lot this season, is we've just lacked that bit of composure going into that final third, going into the box, and just not hitting the target enough. And there's a stat that I've got, which I'll mention it now, but Benteke, he's had 93 attempts on goal this season. 93 attempts, which is the 5th most in the league. Is he the... I should have a quick look at his stats. Is he the 5th top scorer? No. No, he's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th top scorer in the league. Yeah. And the only players who are above him with more shots on goal, you've got Cucho Hernandez for Columbus Crews had 121 shots on goal. Bawanga, who's at 114, and Hani Mukhtar, who's at 100. Otherwise, everyone's had fewer attempts at goal. Yeah. He's had 31 shots on target. So a third. He's hit the target a third of the time. Which, when I'm just having a quick look through and doing some quick maths. Yeah, it's not looking good. His accuracy is not there at all. So Benteke is not looking particularly good. I tell you who is been looking good, and we did well to keep him away from goal. Giacomakis for Atlanta, who's had 53 shots at goal. 27 of them have been on target. So half of his shots have been on target, and he's scored 14 times. Which goals to shots on target ratio is the best in the league. Fair play. We did well there. So credit to the defense on that one. But looking back again to the Atlanta game, on top of that, there was a penalty kick, which was weird because it went to review twice, which I've never seen before. I don't think that's ever happened in the Premier League, that's for certain. And I might need correcting if I on this one, because I'm still not 100% clear on what the hell happened. And I don't think really many people are. But we had the review on the penalty, which it was still given after the ref gave it for a handball. But then it went back to another review after Guzan was complaining. And then it was given offside. So then the penalty wasn't given. I think that's in its simplest form, it's how it went down. But so that was a bit strange. Just going on to come back to a comment, Benteke has rarely been known as a goal scorer or a fine finisher. He did when he was at Villa. When he was at Villa, he was a goal scorer. He's a bull in a china shop who needs a foil to mop up the mess and took away the chances he creates in the chaos, which we don't have. Yeah. We just don't have the luxury of having a lot of chances or someone else who's clinical. I mean, imagine if we had Gressel still whipping those balls onto that big head of his. That would be nice. But, we don't make these decisions, do we, Dave Casper? Anyway, and then let's have a look at the stats in the game. So we were outpossessed in this game, 43.7 to 56.3. We had 19 shots on goal to their 6 in total, of which they only had 1 in the second half. That's fantastic defensive work in the second half. Both sides had 4 on target. There was 13 to 11 fouls, which we picked up 2 yellow cards. Atlanta picked up 3. Not many clearances, only 14 to 12. And then expected goals, 2 to 0.7. So we really should, if we're looking at expected goals, which I know a lot of people aren't always particularly loving, shall we say. But it's there. It's there. We should have really scored more goals. So, hey ho. And then kind of a little sort of overall thought about this one, which was yet again, it's another game where we've been on top in terms of stats on paper. Second half, we really outplayed Atlanta. Atlanta were great in the first 15 minutes, but then we started to come into the game. We really need to stop conceding in those first 15 minutes as well. But my 2 biggest irks with this game, which were Durkin giving the ball away so easily rather than just clearing out the ball, and Fajardo missing those 2 glorious opportunities that he had. Benteke had 1 opportunity in the first half, which went just over the bar. He was leaning back on the ball. He was outside the box. Hey ho. But there was one late on in the game, which he headed wide as well. Again, he was free, so he's not going to get away from the stick like Fajardo, like I gave to Fajardo anyway. If you're free in the box, he did have a little bit of a pull as he was getting away from his man. So whether that's had something in there, but again, you should be hitting the target with these kinds of things. Easy for me to say, being on a computer chair, not playing football or a professional or anything like that. But looking from where I am, critiquing where I can, and hopefully giving the voice that you guys are out there, hopefully you agree with me on that. Yeah, it's just annoying to say the least. So I kind of forgot to upload something. So just bear with me 2 seconds because I've got some audio to play, which is moving away from the whatchamacallit. The preview, the review of the game. We are going to be looking at this weekend's opponents, but before we do, it's the more you know.
It's time to learn, it's time to learn. It's time for the more you know.
I hope you like that. That was a bit of a different jingle this week for the more you know. Let me know what you think about that. Did you like it? I thought it was a bit strange. But AI. I thought I'd use a bit of AI to come up with that. We'll see what you think anyway. But the more you know, Red Bulls edition. So we've already played the Red Bulls this season, and I've already done a more you know segment on New Jersey because, as we all know, New Jersey Pink House. But for this one, I wanted to focus on the team and stuff and look at a bit about the facts about the team and the history behind them. So we've got some facts about the Red Bulls, which if you're new to the league, you might not know about them. But if you are someone who's been around for a while, then you'll most likely know about these bits. As mentioned, and the nickname that we affectionately know them by. So despite the name being the Red Bulls New York, the team, in fact, don't actually play in New York. They play in Harrison, New Jersey, which is just across from the Hudson River. Also, the Red Bulls haven't always been known as the Red Bulls. They actually originally started off as, and not the Metro Stars, but Empire Soccer Club. It was their original name before they settled on Metro Stars when MLS was formed. Red Bulls took over in 2006, and they completely rebranded everything from Metro Stars, which wasn't to everyone's liking. When these things kind of happen, there's always going to be a little bit of uproar. We would look at Wimbledon in the UK when they were taken over and rebranded and moved, in fact, to Milton Keynes, and they became the MK Dons, and then AFC Wimbledon was then born. And they're now playing the same league, which is mad. So, yeah, probably things like that won't happen in MLS, where you get fans bringing in a club unless you've got a very, very, very rich fan. Yeah, that's it. Never really going to happen. So, we won't see that happen in the US compared to the UK. And when you look at another one, which is Manchester United, some fans who royally annoyed with the Glazers set up their own team, FC United of Manchester, and they're working their way up through the leagues as well. The club's main supporter group is Empire Supporters Club, named after the original team name, Empire Soccer Club, and the Viking Army. Main rivals of the Pink Cows is, of course, ourselves, thanks to the history between the two clubs and the competition for the Atlantic Cup. But their other rivals, New England Revolution, Philadelphia Union, and obviously more recently, New York City FC, because of the Hudson River Derby and the locality of that one as well. And also a nice little fun fact, Rebels have never won MLS Cup. Go figure. So yeah, that's your little bit of the more you know.
It's time to learn, it's time to learn. It's time for the more you know.
So, preview time. We've got Red Bulls this weekend on Saturday, September 23rd, as long as the weather is okay. As mentioned earlier on in the show, there is a little bit of a weather alert. So it could be an interesting one this weekend. So if I just bring up my weather app on my phone, just to kind of have a little look. So when I initially heard about the being really, really bad weather, I looked at it. I think there was like 80 mil of rain forecast for DC. Looking at it now, so we've got coastal flood warnings, flood advisory warnings, wind advisory warnings as well. Your temperature is in the evening anyway, because that's when we're playing. You've got 15 degrees Celsius. Don't ask me what that is in Fahrenheit, because I really don't know. And we're British, so we don't work in Fahrenheit. You've got rain amount of 20.3 millimeters, much less than what was originally forecast. During the day, it's 30.9, so it's a lot less. You've got winds of up to 33 mile an hour as the gusts, but the average wind speed will be around 15, so it won't be too windy. Average cloud cover of 99%, and it will feel like 11 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's going to be a cold one for you guys out there. It's a shame I won't be there. I'm supposed to be there this week. Yeah, we won't talk about that too much because it'll make me sad. Right, Fahrenheit wise, 62 degrees Fahrenheit, with a real feel of 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So there you go. That wasn't too difficult to actually get the Fahrenheit. It was a quick tweak in the settings. There you go. Stu, even with Thierry Henry and the prolific BWP, the Pink Cows didn't win a trophy. Well, they did win they've won trophies. They've won the Support Shield a couple of times and the like. But yeah, they're not history-wise. They're not as good as DC, but we've not been good recently, so we can't really use that too much because we can't rest on our old ways, really. We can't rely on that. So between the two sides, this is the 101st MLS match, 103rd overall. Between the two teams, we've won 44 times, they've won 39, and there's been 19 draws. Neither team has won consecutive matches since 2017 and 2018. That overlap season there. We are unbeaten in 4, as mentioned, as the title of this particular episode. And that's the first time we've done that since a 5-match streak back in 2021. Excuse me, I don't know what happened there. We've only allowed a single goal against us for the first time since 2021 as well. So we're doing really well there, defensively and form-wise. Red Bulls have only won once in their last 16 away matches and have only gained a single point in the last 5. So their away form is particularly poor at the moment. Benteke has attempted 93 shots, as I mentioned earlier on in the episode, 5th most in MLS. But no other DC player since records began in 2010 has attempted more than 84. So Benteke has attempted the most shots out of any DC player in a single season so far. And we've still got 4 games to go, which you will probably play in Autumn, which will probably end up quite a lot. I'm going to say at least 110 plus. So hopefully I'll bag a few more. That'll be nice to get him up from 10, because as good as being in double figures is, I'm not going to lie, I'm actually disappointed with the amount of goals so far this year in MLS. You look at the leading goal scorer at the moment is Hani Mukhtar on 15. We look at previous, and Hani Mukhtar led the way last year, 23 overall in the season. To be fair, there's not too many times. Garsfeld had 34 back in 2019. Yeah, there's not really that many. For some reason, I felt like there's been more goals in MLS. Maybe it's just spread out. So yeah, like I said, I'm a bit surprised by that one. Genuinely thought there would have been more. And then Red Bull in their last fixture only faced 3 shots. So defensively, they're tight and they're solid. And so far this season, they've only had 78 shots against them, which is just crazy to think about. The fact that they've only had 78 shots overall. It's great work. You've got to applaud them for that. But they are down in the second bottom of the East. So the fact that they've only had that many, and they've only scored 25 goals so far this season, which is the second worst in the Eastern Conference and 3rd worst overall. So they're really not scoring that many, but they're not conceding a huge amount either. So their goal difference is -9 at the moment. Yeah, one away game all season. This is one for the taking. It really is. We could win this game. We just need to make sure that our scorers are scoring. As cliche as that sounds. And just make sure we get the right players on the pitch this weekend. I want to see Dahomey play. I want to see Ted, and I want to see Pirani supporting Benteke up top. Clicking Knaus in the middle. And then Juan, Pines, Heinz Ike, and Davis at left back, Bono and goal. That's my lineup right there. That's out of the players that we got right now. I think that's our stronger team that we have right now. Is Bono and goal. One right back, Pines, Heinz Ike at the centre backs, Davis at left back, Knaus and Click, Ted, Pirani, Dahomey, Benteke up top. Agree or disagree? That's where I'm sitting on that one. Availability report for this weekend. There hasn't been anything announced. There's not been a press conference either. So we're not hearing much on that one. The only bit of news that we've had come out of the club is the promotion of the evening for this weekend, which is a Hispanic. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. This month, so they've been doing a lot of promotion on that one. It's Latina night. So if you're gonna go in style. And the only other bit is the club are monitoring the weather and will update sports accordingly. So please do keep an eye out, whether that's through Twitter, Facebook, wherever you get club news from. Make sure you keep yourself up to date on that. As it stands, the game is going ahead. I think it should still go ahead, even if it's a bit wet. I think it'd be entertaining, as long as the players are safe. That's the main thing. I've got to make sure the players are safe. So no availability, but again, just a quick breakdown of this roster. So the DPs are Lucinius and Dante Van Zia, who's just been ruled out for the rest of the season. So they've only got one DP available. Andre Reyes is their under 22 initiative player. So get your predictions in now. Whilst I give how I feel what the keys are going to be for this match. But we really need to be more clinical in that final third. And what we need to really be doing is overrunning their defense. That's what we need to do. Because you look at their last game, they had 3 shots against them. We need to make sure we have more than that. You look at our recent record in terms of the amount of attempts at goal. We've been breaking the 20-shot mark. We've had 19. We've had lots of attempts at goal. We've just not had that many on target. So we need to make sure we're getting attempts on goal, working their keeper, like we did against Charlotte. Their keeper had a great game. And any other day we would have really won that one. Look what we did against Chicago. We ended up scoring 4 past them. We can do it. We've got the ability to do it. We just need to make sure we can do it consistently. So that for me is the key. Is making sure we're more clinical, more shots on target, and we need to overrun their defense. So prediction wise for me, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win this weekend. Hopefully we can get that. That would be nice. So yeah, 2-1 win. And now I can hear the gasps. Yeah, exactly. 2-1 win. We need to win. There's no other way around it. It has to be a win. This is the time when these are all finals now. Absolute finals. So let's go and do it. Let's go out there and let's get the goals scored. So yeah, that's it for match preview. We move on to fan questions, which we had one sent in, and I see one just coming in on the chat there. So thank you, Stu, and thank you for your prediction. They're 3-0, feeling optimistic. I like it. I like that. But Stu, your question: what's the situation with Ravel Morrison? Is he technically still a DC player? It's a very good question, actually, Stu. And I'm glad you asked it, because I'm just going to quickly go on to that. As far as I'm aware, he's not a DC player. We let him go, and then we tried to re-sign him, but we didn't have the cap space because he was on a guaranteed contract. When you release him after a certain date, the cap is you don't regain that cap space. So you have a certain opportunity during the season where you can release a player, and if they're on a guaranteed contract, you can buy out that guaranteed contract and it won't count towards your cap space. We missed that opportunity. We still released him, and now he counts towards a cap space. We tried to re-sign him, and we can't because we don't have the cap space available. And that was sort of the explanation that came out from Wayne in regards to Morrison. The truth behind that, or if that's 100% accurate, I don't know. But yeah, we can't play him. He's got his money for the year. He's currently, I think he's back in the UK, I think, at the moment. Playing 6-a-side and stuff. So, yeah. Fair play to him for getting that money. Just really poor from Dave Casper. Again. Just need to somehow get rid of him. The thing is that I think it was in the Discord chat, there's been a lot of discussion about the season ticket prices. And they are going up by probably about an average of 30%. You look at the product on the pitch. Does that deserve a 30% increase in ticket prices? I'll let you guys answer that one for yourselves, because I know my answer to that one. So yeah, is he technically? You look at the active roster on MLS website. Yes, he's still a DC player. He's just unavailable. So same with Jeremy Garay, who's down as unavailable. Very weird. There you go. Alex is going to go for a 1-goal thriller. I like the amount of goals on that one. 1. Hey, if we win 1-0, it's a 1-0 win. It's a win. It's 3 points in the bag. It puts us into neutral goal difference. So I'll take it. So, right. Next question. David, who's a DCUK member, has asked, has Wayne been given a fair chance? Yeah, I've thought long and hard about this one this afternoon when the question came in. And I'm a bit and ahhing as to whether to say yes or no on this one. I want to say yes, because he's had 18 months to put a stamp on things, try and change things, and to a degree, we've got a bit of an identity. We play for each other. You saw that at the start of the season, the way they fought for each other, the togetherness. It was great to see. And then we were playing in a certain way with 4 players at the back, but then we had injuries, which seems to be an ongoing thing with this club in injuries, changing seasons. Because we had Rodriguez out, Jose then out for the season. He was out for a couple of months, and then picked up in a season-ending injury, and then other things happened, and yeah, just one thing after another led to us going to a 3/5 back formation, which just worked for a few games. We stuck with it. We didn't play all that well. We then gone back to a 4-back formation, which seems to start off a little bit iffy, but we've gotten back into it, and we're starting to play some good stuff again. And yeah, weird. So on that aspect, he's had time to change things. But I also want to say, no, he's not being given a fair chance because he's still got Dave Casper to deal with. And when you've got someone like Dave, who from the outside is in control of so much when he's not the head coach, and the head coach is the one who drives what happens on the pitch, it's just, you look at some of the transfer dealings, and you look at Ravel Morrison, you look at Taxi, you look at Fajardo, you look at Hurtado. These signings have just been misses. Granted, we've had some hits and the gap there. But yeah, no, joking aside, Click's been decent. Benteke's managed to get to double figures this year. Pirani started off incredibly well, but I want to say that's more Sean Howe's findings because he's been down in Brazil a fair chunk of this year doing his scouting. But then bringing Yamil Assad back has just been a miss on that one as well. Yeah, it's a very mixed bag, and you can't have a mixed bag. You've got to have majority good signings. You're allowed 1 or 2 bad signings. It will always happen. Things don't always work out for the way you think they will, but Dave Casper's had a lot more misses than he's had hits. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that's so yes, some bits he's been given a fair chance, but I would say no as well because he's got Dave to deal with. and that's not always the easiest thing in the world. So, right, let's wrap things up with guess DC who. So, didn't see any guesses coming in on the live chat, but let's go back and bring the player up on screen. And for those of you who weren't here at the start of the show, or if you're listening back and you just decided to skip the first couple of minutes, what were you doing? But this player is someone who's played for both DC United and the Red Bulls. He was born in Winter Park, Florida. Stands at just a measly 5'9". Played college soccer at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for the Tar Heels. Made 45 appearances, scoring 4 goals for them as well. He has played for 5 different teams in his career so far, which means he's still an active player. And he's won 13 US men's national team caps as well. He's won the Western Conference, and he's won the Supporters' Shield twice. And he's also made the MLS All-Star team twice in 2015 and 2017. That player is, let's get that drum roll. Oh, that's a joke. That's not so good. That's why I had a drum roll. I could have sworn that was there before. Never mind. We've got a guess. Dax McCarty. Are you right? Oh, yes, it is. Dax McCarty is the correct answer. I want to pronounce it. Your username Vasengatori XLL. I've probably butchered that, and I apologize. Feel free. I'm pretty sure I've seen you on Discord, or Instagram, or somewhere. Just drop me a message. Tell me how you pronounce that one for next time. I know that. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll try and pronounce that once I've not had a beer, or 2, because I have. That's how I roll. Hence why I've been drinking water. Not beer, wine. What am I on about? Decided to have a bit of a wine drink, a little bit of red wine tonight. So thank you very much for everyone joining in, listening in, however you've been watching or listening or doing whatever you want to. But as always, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, or subscribe to the podcast. Give us a like on this video. Drop a little comment if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're listening to the podcast, please do leave a rating and review. And as always, please do come and join us at DCUK. We'd love to see you there. And also, please, please, please get some of these shirts. They're wicked. They're beautiful. They are a joy to behold. So that's it for this week. And as always, I will end the show by saying, Vamos United.
Swallowed on record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record eyes. Still want the act, not the ghost.